Welcome back. Cosatu Parliamentary Coordinator Matthew Parks joins us now to discuss the announcement made earlier on by former President Jacob Zuma saying that he is not going to campaign on behalf of the ANC, expressing disappointment with the current leadership and the character of the party, naming quite a number of things. Matthew, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Parks. I'd like to hear your thoughts around this. I'm not sure if you overheard my discussion with Professor Lisiba Defo, but he was saying it's no contradiction, but it is a contradiction in terms in the sense that it's pretty much like having an SACP membership. But my question is, you can have an SACP membership as an alliance partner, you know that, but you are endorsing, sanctioning the formation of a political party that is going to contest the elections, basically to try and unseat the ANC, the very party that you say, I will die a member of. Tell us what you make out of this.
So, look, good evening. Thanks for having us. For us, really, it's a non-issue. We appreciate it's Christmas season, so there's really a scarcity of exciting media stories. But the speech by the former president is itself it's a bit buzz, confusing. He says he's an ANC member, but he's not going to vote for the ANC, he's going to vote for another party. He laments about purges in the ANC, which we're not aware about. But of course, he's quiet about when he was leader of the ANC, when two political parties were formed out of the ANC, COPE and the EFF. But look, nonetheless, it's a democracy. People make noise. Often the noise doesn't make sense. It's election season, so you're going to find political parties sprouting like weeds all over the show. People have never heard of them. They crop up every election time we have an election, and they'll disappear soon after that. It's a little bit strange, and logic would question, why would a person who says they're an ANC member, why would they vote for a party which doesn't exist, which doesn't have leadership, doesn't have membership, but which he says he's been part of its registration and will soon be launched? It's a little bit of a strange thing, but good luck for that. I think for us as Cosatu, we're not worried about the meanderings of a retired politician. He had his chance to serve the nation, he had his chance to lead. Unfortunately, he failed to take opportunity of that moment. That trust was placed upon him by the ANC, by the nation at large twice, to great cost to South Africa. I think for us, we're really focusing about cleansing the ANC, renewing the ANC. We're very excited when we see the ANC making progress in cleansing itself of disreputable elements. I think for us what's critical is about rebuilding the state, rebuilding quality public services society depends upon, fixing Eskom so the economy has electricity it can rely upon, making sure the trains that transit and metro rail run so the economy can move smoothly, so we can reduce unemployment. For us, that's the key thing. The meanderings of a bored, retired politician talking to a few of his friends is not really something that's too important for society.
I want to ask something of you, Matthew. I mean, pretty much within the first sentences, I paraphrase you, well, pretty much said, it's this time, silly season, the reactions that were solicited from President Cyril Ramaphosa, he seemed rather nonchalant ahead of this announcement. Fikile Mbalula as the SG as well. So, well, he can say what he wants. We can't really do much about it. But, Mbalula did say Mkhonto Wesizwe belongs to the ANC. And if you want to go from a party, you go, but leave the MK with us. We are going to challenge you in court. So does that then suggest that it actually does hit home more than they're putting out, that it could be a destabilizing factor going into the elections, particularly given that there are quite a few of the old guard who are dissatisfied with the current nature and character of the ANC?
Yeah. I mean, look, for us, the ANC has lost people all the time. Political parties' membership comes and goes. The ANC has lost people before, it has actually grown from strength to strength. We lost Abantu Holomisa and the UDM in Madiba's administration. We increased support. We lost COPE under Zuma's era. And in fact, under President Ramaphosa, we did better in the previous election polls than we'd done previously. So not too stressed about it. The real threat to the ANC has always been ANC failures, ANC inability to manage issues within itself, within government, etc. If we can focus on rebuilding the state ending load shedding, getting in transit working so the mining, manufacturing, agricultural sectors can take off. If we can focus on reducing unemployment, dealing with corruption, especially high-level corrupt politicians, let me emphasize that in particular, then we can see society coming back to the ANC. Society likes the ANC. The ANC is the only party which has ever won over 50% in 6 successive elections. All the other parties have not grown. In fact, most of them are about 1%. The DA is struggling to get to 25%. The EFF has never even come close to 15%. The challenge is for ANC to deliver upon its manifesto. If it does that, society will support the ANC and the ANC will do well in the elections. But I think society is also watching this plethora of interesting little parties. No one knows who they are, where they come from. They've got no track record. And they've seen the chaos, what happens when you entrust political parties of no track record to governance. We can see the chaos in Gauteng and other municipalities across the country. It's not a pretty picture. But I think for us, the ANC needs to just focus on delivering to the people of South Africa. That's his mandate, and that's what will do it well to win the elections.
And I'd want to find out from you as Cosatu. Obviously, you have frank discussions and you've put it out there about some of the dissatisfaction with the ANC. And as alliance partner, where do you stand on the current state of the ANC? You just had now recently saying that it will fall in line, vote for the for the ANC and not the SACP, though it was pushing for that. But is the alliance still worth it? Because there are some critics who say you, as an alliance partner, including the SACP, have diminished in influence as a result of this partnership.
Yeah. So for us, it's worth it because ANC is the only viable political party which can deliver upon workers' interests. It's the only political party which has ever taken up working class demands and campaigns time and again, which has given space for trade unions to influence government policy in all administrations, from the Madiba administration through the Mbeki up to today under the Ramaphosa administration. And there are many things we can point to. We can point to a progressive constitution which is biased towards workers, especially labor rights, the right to form trade unions. We can point to our progressive laws which recognize workers' rights, from maximum hours they can work in a week, the right to work in a safe environment, the right to form trade unions and so forth. People might say, well, that's from the Madiba, the Mbeki administration, that's fine. We can point under the Cyril Ramaphosa administration, a minimum wage which has raised the wages of 6 million workers from farm to domestic to agricultural, construction, hospitality workers. We can point to the 64 billion rand which managed to release as Cosatu, working with government very closely during COVID, to 5.7 million workers in the private sector who had no wages to take care of their families. We can point to the SOD grant with all of its imperfections now, which is reaching 8 million unemployed people, which is laying the foundation for a basic income grant. We can point in Parliament to many progressive laws now being passed through after a long journey, from the National Health Insurance, which will guarantee access to healthcare for all South Africans. We can point to what's going to happen next year in 2024, when the two-part pension reforms, which Cosatu drafted, will come into effect, enabling workers to access limited parts of the pension funds early without having to resign. So there are many issues we can point to a great success. Of course, if people will say, well, Cosatu, what influence do you have? Well, it was Cosatu who led a charge against a delinquent former president who is now masquerading as some sort of new politician to say he must go when he failed the country spectacularly. We now see not only do you have the founding general secretary of National Union Mine Workers, Cyril Ramaphosa, as the president of the country, but we've got many significant and strategic positions in cabinet, which are led by former trade unions, which helps to deliver upon issues to workers, for example, trade and industry, and so forth. But having said that, we're also unhappy with many issues. We can't be celebrating a 41% unemployment rate. We can't be celebrating the issues of load shedding, the issues of cable theft. So for us, it's about focusing on those bread and butter issues, seeing how we can improve the lives of workers. We're not really interested in politicians' T-shirts or press conferences. We're focused on what can improve workers' lives.
Cosatu's Parliamentary Coordinator, thank you very much. Matthew Parks just sharing Cosatu's point of view on the announcement made earlier on by former President Jacob Zuma.